And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Joe Sirola.
Yeah. Hey, how do you get up there? Hey. Ah, hey. Wow. There we are. Wow. Eliza should be here in a few minutes. She ought to be good for half a crown for her father, what loves her.
Loves her? You never gives him anything.
What do you mean I never gives her anything? I gives her everything. I'll give her the greatest gift any human being can give to another. Life! I introduced her to this here planet I did, with all its wonders and marvels. Hyde Park to walk through on a fine spring night. The whole ruddy city of London to stroll about and selling her blooming flowers. I gives her all this, and then I disappears and leaves her on her own to enjoy it. Now, if that ain't worth half a crown now and again, I'll take off my belt and give her what for. The Lord above gave man an arm of iron, so he could do his job and never shirk. The Lord above gave man an arm of iron, but with a little bit of luck, with a little bit of luck, someone else will do the blinking work. With a little bit, with a little bit, with a little bit of luck, you'll never work. The Lord above made liquor for temptation, to see if man could turn away from sin. The Lord above made liquor for temptation, but with a little bit of luck, with a little bit of luck, when temptation comes, you'll give right in. Oh, you can walk the straight and narrow, but with a little bit of luck, you'll run amok. The gentle sex was made for man to marry, to share his nest and see his food is cooked. The gentle sex was made for man to marry, but with a little bit of luck, with a little bit of luck, you can have it all and not get hooked. With a little bit, with a little bit, with a little bit of luck, you won't be hooked. Oh, they're always throwing goodness at you. But with a little bit of luck, a man can duck. A man was made to help support his children, which is the right and proper thing to do. A man was made to help support his children, but with a little bit of luck, with a little bit of luck, they'll go out and start supporting you. With a little bit, with a little bit, with a little bit of luck, they'll work for you. With a little bit, with a little bit, with a little bit of bloom and luck. You know, I never always wanted to be an actor. As a matter of fact, let's start from the beginning. 1951, I graduated Columbia University, and then was asked, as a lot of other people were, to go to Korea. Now, I told them that I was psychologically unfit for atomic warfare. But they didn't believe me, so off I went. Now, with a little bit of luck, instead of sending me up front, they sent me to what they call Division Rear. Now, that was, you heard a lot of shooting, but they weren't shooting at you, which was rather nice. And then, well, a couple of weeks in, I noticed, I asked Colonel Duff, who was in charge of the whole thing, I said, Colonel Duff, I notice you have an enlisted man's club and an officers club, but you don't have a non-commissioned officers club. He said, I never thought about it. Let me talk to Colonel Bang. I swear, Bang and Duff with a turn. He says, we'll meet here tomorrow at 10. Next day, I got there at 10. There they went and said, Joe, that's a good idea. Oh, because tent number 21 is empty, so you can use. I said, wait a minute, I'm only a private. Within 2 weeks, I was a corporal. And within a month, I was a sergeant in charge of liquor for the 7th Division. Wow. Oh, that was power. That was wonderful. Yeah. Well, here I am, 28 years old, sales promotion manager for Kimberly-Clark, Kleenex, Kotex, Delsey tissues. with an expense account, an automobile, a secretary, 8 salesmen. The dream of any immigrant. My parents were just in heaven. But I wasn't. Something was wrong. Well, at the time, I was dating a wonderful girl named Betsy, who was a drama major in college. And she used to say to me, Joe, you're much more than just a salesman. I said, what's wrong with being a salesman, huh? I mean, you like the theater, I like moving pictures. What's the big deal? But it stuck in my craw. And I was walking by Hunter College, and I noticed a big sign, Adult Education. I checked it out. There was a course, Acting 1, those interested in furthering their knowledge, acting, given by Dr. Ilya Motilev of the Moscow Art Theater. Why not? $20, I go there on a Monday from 6 to 10, that's it. So I go to the first class, and there's this little Russian singing. It is yet near the date was the nightingale, it was the fifth, it was, I mean, he was crying and doing Shakespeare. I said, wow, that's fascinating. After a couple of weeks, we did scene study, and I sort of liked it. This is interesting. So I told him, I said, listen, I want to know as soon as possible if I have talent or if I haven't. If I haven't, forget about it. If I have, I want to work privately. Money is no object. So after another few weeks, he said, you're another John Barrymore. Let's work. Wow. We got another guy, another actor. We worked 3-4 hours a day, 4 or 5 months. He said, you're ready to go on the stage. I said, oh, my God, what do I owe you? He said, money is distasteful to me. It was marvelous working with you. So I got my 8x10 photograph, bought Backstage and show business and magazines of the day, and wrote a phony resume on the back. Everyone did that. And I made my rounds. I made my rounds. Now, Monday morning, I meet with my salesmen. There were 8 of them, and fire them up. They go off and do their job, and I went on my rounds. I did 10, 12, 15 rounds a day. I would go to advertising agencies. I would go to casting directors, anywhere. So I would remember at CBS on 57th Street, they had a yellow sheet, and I was always fresh, the Joe Sirola on the top. Anyway, I'm down on 42nd Street, and I'm getting in a car, in a cab, and a lady's trying to get in the same cab. I said, can I help you? Where are you going? She said, I'm going to 57th Street. I said, wow, I'm going to 59th Street. I'll drop you off. So I get in the cab, and I said, where are you going on 57th Street? She said, I'm going to the Blackfriars Theater. I said, what? Wow. That was the most prestigious theater in all of New York, the Blackfriars Theater. And she, are you an actress? Are you equity? Yeah. Oh, my God. Okay, so I dropped her off at 57th Street, and I went out to 59th to my club. Cab driver said, hey, your lady left her purse in the car. I said, let's go back. Go back to the theater. I go upstairs. There's about 300 people around. There were cactus. It was a casting session. I see her. I give her a purse. She says, thank you. And I'm walking out, and I notice a woman running up the stairs. She turned out to be the assistant director. And she said, excuse me, sir, are you reading? Yes, I lied. And she gave me a scene I looked at, and they called me Mr. Sirola, and I got up and I read. And they said, all right, we'll let you know in a couple of days. A couple of days later, sure enough, back for another reading. But now instead of 300 people, there's maybe 100. I read again. They said, we'll call you back. 2 days later, they did call me back. Now there's only about 30 people. I read, I got the part. Now, after 4 weeks rehearsal, did you ever hear of Brooks Atkinson? This is Brooks Atkinson said he was the toughest critic in the world. He said, Joseph Sirola gives an outstanding performance combining a worldly sense of humor with deep piety. How's that? That started everything. Everything went beautifully after that. Then, I met Richard Burton. I saw him in an Actors Fund performance of Camelot, and I was so overwhelmed, I wrote this long letter telling him I thought he was better than Olivier and doing certain scenes, this and that. And then I thought I would send him some flowers. I said, nah, maybe not. But I did. I sent the letter and the flowers. A couple of days later, I get this letter, which Claire pulled out of a pile of junk. Dear Mr. Sirola, you must forgive me for not earlier thanking you for the very pretty roses you sent to the dressing room last Wednesday. They've been much commented upon, and my status has improved visibly. I very much enjoyed our dinner. Your knowledge of Shakespeare is staggering. I feel you could outquote Forbes Robinson. Let's do it again shortly. Oh, my God. To quote Casablanca, that was the beginning of a beautiful friendship. I know what my people are thinking tonight, as home through the shadows they wander. Everyone's smiling with secret delight. They stare at the castle and ponder. Whenever the wind blows this way, you can almost hear everyone say, I wonder what the king is doing tonight. What merriment is the king pursuing tonight? The candles in the court never burn this bright. I wonder what the king is up to tonight. How goes the final hour as he sees the bridal bower being regally and legally prepared? Well, I'll tell you what the king is feeling tonight. He's scared. He's scared. You mean that a king who fought a dragon, whacked him in two, and fixed his wagon goes to be what, in terror and distress? Yes. A warrior who's so calm in battle, even his armor doesn't rattle, faces a woman petrified with fright? Right. You mean that appalling clamoring that sounds like a blacksmith hammering is merely the banging of his royal knees? Please. You wonder what the king is wishing tonight. He's wishing he were in Scotland fishing tonight. What occupies his mind while waiting for the bride? He's searching high and low for some place to hide. And oh, the expectation, the sublime anticipation he must feel about the wedding night to come. Well, I'll tell you what the king is feeling tonight. He's numb, he shakes, he quails, he quakes, and that's what the king is doing tonight. Burton's Bar. That's what his dressing room was called, Burton's Bar. Now, Richard had had a bottle during the day of cognac, and he had a bottle of vodka during the performance. But sitting there would be, at any given night, would be Olivier Gielgud, Sammy Davis Jr. Everyone came. And many times I had dinner with Olivier and Gielgud and all of these, and I had to go through Olivier saying, please call me Larry. How do you call Olivier Larry? And then I remember once Tony Quinn, someone said, Tony, do you know Joe Sirola? He said, I know Joe Sirola since he was a tenor. And then I remember Noel Coward once walking down the street, and I figured maybe he forgot who I was, so I said, no, it's good to see you. I'm Joe Sirola. And he said, of course you are. That was great fun, great fun. Now, Richard, he'd have, as I say, a bottle of whiskey in the day, and then he'd have a bottle of vodka during the performance. Now, Bob Wilson, his dresser, would have half vodka and half water off stage, and he would finish, and that's what simple folk do, so they say, and he'd go off, he'd change his clothes, have his vodka, and he'd come back and say, I have been informed by those, the guy drank a bottle of vodka during the performance. Then after the show, he would go and have another one. This guy knew how to drink, and it was fun. I remember when Robert Coote was played Pellinor, the sidekick, and they go on the stage, and the way the scene's supposed to go is Richard says, here we are in the Morgan Face Forest. I think I'll just stay in this tiny spot, and you go out and get us something to eat. Right, Arthur. But this night it came out, Pettish is not here. I'm going to lie down in this tiny, diminutive, small, tiny spot and wait. You go out and get lunch. Right, Arthur? And this one night he said, and we were, those are lovely words, Arthur. And he said, yes, you'll find them in the dictionary. And Coote said, I know I won't find them in the script. It was a lot of fun. God, that was fun. Huh? Oh, Valerie Harper. We all know who Valerie Harper is? Well, you know, Valerie was supposed to die about 7 years ago. Remember? We had dinner with her 2 months ago. 2 months ago. She's sensational. She's doing a new series. She did a movie. The girl is sensational. Just wonderful. Well, I got a call from her. She said, Joe, you're Talullah Bankhead's favorite actor. Said, what are you talking about? She said, I'm doing a one-woman show on Broadway called Talullah, And she called me, and I got this book, her autobiography. Joe Sirola, her favorite actor in Brighter Day, she had to have from 3 to 3:30 off every day to watch your soap opera. How's that? Talullah Bankhead. Oh, she was wonderful. She was one of the people that watched my show. I remember I got a call. Darling, Talullah, I want to take you to lunch. I haven't been out of the house in 2 years. You must have lunch with me. Talullah Bankhead, oh my God. So I get to her house, and she gets out, and we go into a cab, and the cab says, hi, Talullah. Oh, darling, how are the kids? Good. We won, didn't we? Kennedy had just won the election. We got to Sardis East, and she opened the door, paid the cab. I said, how long do you know the cab driver? She never met him before in my life, darling. But she assumed he was a Democrat, so she was funny. I remember once she called. I lived at my mother's house at the time. I said, Mom, were there any calls? She said, yes, some woman called. I said, what's her name? She said her name was Talullah. I said, what did you say? She said, Talullah who? And what did she say? She said, don't worry, darling, he'll know. I did. She was wonderful. Oh, my God, Talullah. I remember when she first came, she tells the story about when she first came. Oh, I said, did you ever meet John Barrymore? She said, no, darling. But one day he came backstage and tried to rape me like a fool. I didn't let him. Talullah was wonderful. Oh, my God, she was fun. She was terrific. Then it was, this is the Brighter Days of the soap opera. The Brighter Days is the story of the Reverend Dennis and his daughter, Babby. Babby was Nancy Malone. And they lived in this small town. And they thought they'd bring in Peter Nino, that was me, who owned the Rustic Inn with gambling, and they would become lovers, and it was pretty easy because Nancy and I were doing things off camera also. So, well, the idea was that we'd have an affair and whatever it is, and 6 months later they'd kill me off because you can't have the Reverend's daughter marrying a guy who's got gambling. So around that time, I'm at a bar on the East Side, and a guy comes up to me and says, Uncle Frank would like to say hello. And I look, there's Frank Costello. Remember Frank Costello? He was the godfather. I refused to answer on the grounds of attention was good. Says, listen, that girl is gold. You got to marry that girl. You hear me? Here's what you do. Listen, you get rid of the gambling, and then you got the restaurant. The old man can't say anything. I said, yeah, that's a great idea, Uncle Frank. I got to go. He said, hey, remember what I said? Now, during that time, we indeed did intend doing that, selling the gambling, and they could marry him. So a few weeks later, I'm in the same bar. Same guy comes over. Uncle Frank wants to say hello. I look over. Hey, you did what I told you. Champagne for everybody. The guy really thought that he was. Wow. My fans were leading. Oh, Ethel Merman. Oh, my God. Here I was in the business, 18 months. I'm at Sardi's. And Vince said, Miss Merman and Miss Fields would like to buy you a drink. Well, I knew who Ethel Merman was, but I didn't know who Dorothy Fields was. She wrote the music to every Broadway musical. So after the show, after breakfast, after lunch, I went over and I thank you, Miss Merman. She said, you're a very good actor. I said, thanks. She said, listen, I hear you're stealing the show over at rehearsals at Molly Brown. I said, thank you. Don't thank me. Be careful. I'm going to tell you a story. I did a show called Girl Crazy in Philadelphia with a girl named Ginger Rogers. Ever hear of her? Well, at the end of the first act, I had a number called I Got Rhythm. Now, if I did it in Philadelphia like I did it opening night on Broadway, I never would have done it opening night on Broadway. You get my meaning? So, for 1 year, I was lucky to be with Tammy Grimes and the Unsinkable Molly Brown. Incidentally, Tammy, we all know, passed away a couple of weeks ago. She was, but I don't know, knowing Tammy, she would never go where she didn't want to go. I think she might still be around. So. But anyway, her opening number, the Unsinkable Molly Brown, I'll never forget it. I ain't down yet. I'm important to me. Ain't no bottom to no pile. I mean much more to me than I mean anybody I ever knew. Certainly more than I mean any sidewalks, jazzy habits like you guys. Go ahead, break my arm. Me say, Uncle, doesn't make a bit of difference for you to keep saying I'm down till I say so too. Ever try stepping on a pissant? There's one now. Step on him, stomp on him, thinking he quit. He don't think so. There he goes. And you can be positive, sure, I'm as good as any pissant that ever lived. Oh, I hate that word down, but I love the word up. Because up means hope. And that's just what I got. Hope for someplace shinier, cleaner. Hell, if I got to eat catfish heads all my life, can't I have them off a plate just once? And a red silk dress, when there's girl enough on me to wear one. And then, with all my might and all my main, I'm gonna learn to read and write. I'm gonna see what there is to see. So if you go from nowhere on the way to somewhere and you meet anyone, you'll know it's me. I'm gonna go from place to place and find a house with a golden step. And if that house is red and has a big brass bed, I'm living there to show that you know. You gotta show you know. I'm gonna learn to read and write. I'm gonna see what there is to see. So if you go from nowhere on the road to somewhere and you meet anyone, you'll know it's me. I'm gonna go from place to place and find a house with a golden stem. And if that house is red and has a big brass bed, I'm staying there. Rome? Huh? Say again.
Cleopatra.
Ah, this is my personal teleprompter. Shayna Farr. Now, Richard tells me, listen up, I'm doing a thing called Cleopatra in Rome with Elizabeth Taylor. You must come and keep me company. Oh, my God. I quit Molly Brown, which was $400 a week. I quit the soap opera, which was $250 a day, sometimes 5 days a week, and I went to Rome with Richard Burton. Never regretted a minute. What a time. He said to me, he said, listen, Rob, he said, I'm doing a thing, this Cleopatra. Joe Mankiewicz is the producer-director. And I told him, listen, when do we start? It was June. He said, we start next week, and we'll be through February 15th. And I said, are you sure? Because I'm doing a thing for Terry Radigan's writing a play for me, and I'm doing it on, we start rehearsal in the middle of March. So to ease my mind, could I get a penalty clause like $25,000 a week in case we go over? Well, you won't go over, kid, don't worry. But he gave me this $25,000. They didn't start shooting till September. Richard was making $25 a week, $25,000 a week for all that time. He knew she wouldn't be ready to shoot for a while. So every day he'd pull up in his limousine with Katie and Jessica, his kids, a gallon of red wine, and we'd go to Ostia, which is the beach at Rome, and drink. What a time we had in Rome. Oh, that was wonderful. That was wonderful. Where are we, kid? Hollywood. Ah, then Hollywood called, of course. Are we doing pictures? Hollywood.
The game of slugging someone after seeing a Volkswagen is known the world over. What hasn't been known, though, is who invented the game. Until now. We recently found the man who started it all over 50 years ago. A man known to everyone simply as Sluggy.
How did it start?
I was on a road trip with this guy, a good friend of mine. His name is Greg. Now you got it. What?
Do you remember where you were headed?
Who gives a shit where I'm going? You're asking a question, I'm giving you an answer.
Okay.
Greg could talk the ears off a breast monkey. I mean, this guy could talk. So it got so annoying, I reared back and I punched him right in the face. So now, naturally, the guy says, what'd you punch me in the face for? Now, I had to come up with something quick, because this guy had a temper. All of a sudden, I see a VW drive by. So I lied. I told him that there's this new game. Whenever you see a VW, you punch someone. He bought it.
And that's it?
No, that's not it. You don't go around punching people in the face. I did that. But now people punch people in the arm. It's more civilized. And there's rules, you know, like no punch backs, no timeouts, there's no punching the driver while he's driving. Look at, hey, a silver one. You flinched. That's 2.
You're not gonna, well, okay, you're not gonna really hit me, right?
Consider this a delayed payoff.
For what?
For the fight you messed up on us.
What are you talking about?
Salerno was supposed to fall in the 7th round. You took him out in the 4th round. You fought an honest fight, and we lost the bundle.
I don't believe you.
That's the way it happened. How'd you get in a wheelchair, Joey? Stroke?
Spurs on the base of my spine. All that dancing around the ring.
Can't operate?
Too old. When you get right down to it, you don't look so hot yourself.
Cancer. Hey. Something's got to get us, right, Joey? Look at us, two old, wounded fighters.
Oh, no. Don't even tell that lie to your pillow. We're not alike. Because you're a punk. And I'm a good guy.
Morning.
Tell me what you think you're doing.
You like a nice ring to it, huh?
I never made that statement. Now, that's a lie.
Lies are printed all the time. Come on, Quincy. It's part of the game.
It's part of your game. It's not part of mine.
Well, there's a renegade in the department that'll sure as hell flush them out, huh?
No, I'm surprised you didn't name names.
I thought of it, Quincy. It was premature.
I don't know what kind of sickness drives you to want to destroy people's lives, but I'm going to see that it stops.
Wait a minute, Quincy. Maybe it is a sickness. Maybe it is a disease. But believe it or not, Quincy, this department needs someone with the unpleasant qualities I happen to have. Because even in your office, it's not above the possibility of scandal, of corruption, of ineptness.
You're under arrest, Reno.
You talking to me, Marshal?
Your name's Reno, isn't it?
Look, Marshal, I don't know what kind of town you're running here.
This isn't my town.
Well, I wouldn't know. See, I just rode in. I'm going to wash down some trail dust. And... All right, Marshal, what do you say I done?
You don't remember me, do you?
No.
When you hang a man, you better look at him. Don't go for that gun, Reno. I need you alive.
Hollywood was fun. Hollywood was fun for the first year. I get out there immediately. I star in The Untouchables, Perry Mason, Andy Griffith, one after another. It was just, I did a movie with Rock Hudson and Gino Lollobrigida called Strange Bedfellows. And I remember there was a scene where I'm at the door and he's supposed to come by and ask me what I'm doing. And just before they took the shot, he said, "Joe, 1 second." I turn around. There's Rock Hudson. There's big size. He said, "Listen, when you go out, when I call you, when you go out, you'll notice I'm in your shadow. So what you do, go out a little further, and I'm going to move back so that like it's right on you." Can you imagine this guy, Rock Hudson? He sent me a bottle of liquor and flowers and a lovely letter to my dressing room. It's so wonderful working with a Broadway actor. I mean, that's the kind of guy he was. He was just wonderful. And they did one thing after another. Then, after about a year, nothing. But that happens in Broadway, in theater, nothing at all. And I was visiting a girl at an agent's office, and the guy came up to me and said, "Did you ever think of doing voiceovers?" I said, "What's a voiceover?" I didn't watch TV. He said, "That's the voice behind the thing. It's a lot of money." I said, "Oh, yeah, all right." He said, "You got an hour?" I said, "Yeah." So he gives you this copy and a microphone. And I read, Vicks Formula 44 has a cough suppressant as effective as codeine, but not narcotic. So next time you have a cold, try Vicks Formula 44. I think you'll like. He goes, "Wow." I said, "What'd I do?" Well, up to then, people were saying, Vicks Formula 44 has a cough suppressant as effective, they were talking to the mic instead of at the mic. Not knowing any better, I thought, well, that's the person I'm talking to. It started a whole new trend. I went from $3,200 a year, which is $55 a week unemployment, to $310,000 to $600 to $1 million a year, which I made for 8 straight years, and I'm not rich. But I had a lot of fun. Well, then, now, where are we? Hey? Oh, you got the names? Oh. Johnny Carson. Oh, incidentally, Johnny Carson said that Joe Sirola is probably the most listened to voice in America. Not that you wanted to, but I was on that one.
Mr. Overcash would like to know the terms of your Midas guarantee.
He's the world's richest man.
All right. Well, our guarantee is good on any Midas muffler we install on any American car. Mind if I ask you a personal question, HJ? Why does a man like you even bother with a guarantee?
My boy, how do you think a man like me got to be a man like me? Mr. and Mrs. Stanley Bittman of Langsburg, Ohio. I can see it in your eyes. You want a small car, but you want more than just a Volkswagen Beetle. You want to move up. Let me be your guide. This revolutionary new car is only 3 inches longer than a Beetle, yet it has nearly twice the luggage space. But you want more. It has an engine more powerful than a Beetle, yet with the same economy. But you want more. The interior, a knockout. Lush carpeting, flow-through ventilation. Automatic stick shift is available, of course. Ah, you've arrived. The 1971 Super Beetle.
Gee, with all those changes, it looks like the old Beetle.
The trouble with you, Bittman, is you want too much.
The man with the eye of an eagle, the great Oculo.
Who will be the first to challenge the eye of Oculo?
Oculo!
And it's my big man!
Can you find the zipper in her dress? A zipper!
Talon has created an invisible zipper for home sewers. It works like a zipper, but it looks like a seam.
Hey! Now just a moment, please! Please! Give the poor man a chance!
Talon's invisible zipper. Not seeing is believing.
In Caesar's spirit, ranging for revenge, with Ate by his side, come hot from Hades, shall in these confines with a monarch's voice cry, "Heaven!" and let slip the dogs of war.
The solution to man's chafing, nicking, and irritating himself with today's super-duper razor blades lies not in bathroom tissue. The solution lies in the thin lubricating film in Rise.
Clark Gable.
Hello. I'm John Vane. Yes, the fabulous star of stage, screen, and politics. And I'm asking you to support the brewers of Utica Club beer. At the conclusion of this message, the lights will go on in your living room. Please, take just a moment. Go to your grocer. He has volunteered to accept money for Utica Club beer. Won't you help?
Evening. My name is Byron Hedges, and I know a lot of you been asking how me and Mr. Benson got together. I
first sampled Benson's rich tobacco blend by Pure Change. And I knew I had to find him.
You know where I can find that man?
Benson? Yeah.
Never heard of him.
My search continued.
He keeps calling for someone named Benson.
But then, on the brink of despair...
Hey, get your Bensons, get your nice friend.
Do you know the man that makes these? You're looking at him.
Yes, Benson had the great tobacco, and I had the biggest idea since Kingside.
I can see it now. Hedges and Benson 100s!
Of course, Benson's sort of a little different.
During the calendar year 1966, we had 13 letters of complaint about your service from Whirlpool customers. On December 17, you promised to repair a leak in Mrs. Draper's washer and instead went to play poker. And on March 24, 1967, you were rude to Mrs. Myers at 112 Wood Hollow Road. Stanley, you're very disappointed in me.
Whirlpool Tech Care is a network of 1,132 of the best repair organizations in the country, and we intend to keep it that way. That's why last year we drummed out 49 of them. At Whirlpool, you shape up or ship out.
We've lost Simple. What's that?
Polaroid's SX70 Alpha 1. Look how close you could get. The finest instant camera ever made.
The simplest, the cheapest, the best. All Polaroid.
I didn't get to Polavision.
What?
Their new instant movies.
Stanley, you're quite a troublemaker, aren't you?
Ah! Boy, that was fun. And a lot of money. Well, I hadn't seen Richard in 3 years, and he was now in Puerto Vallarta doing Night of the Iguana with Elizabeth Taylor. No, with Ava Gardner. So I decided to go down to Puerto Vallarta. Now, I take this plane, I get off in Puerto Vallarta, and there are two hotels, the Mismaloya and the Oceana. So the cheapest one was the Mismaloya. I went there. And I go in, the guy said, here's your room. Now, first thing you do is you get these shower curtains, do that. And then when you go to bed, just take the sheet and do that. I said, why am I doing this? He said, well, in case there are scorpions. So I got on a boat, a little boat. We went to Mismaloya where they were shooting. And I get there. And that was the time of the paparazzi with Elizabeth. And so I got there, and there was a guy with a machine gun. Well, I said, I want to see Richard Burton. He says, who are you? I'm Joe Sirola. He looks, calls up. Oh, si, senor. So he pulls me up on it was an elevator by rope. Got up there. And there is Richard Burton, Ava Gardner, Deborah Carr. Oh, my God, everyone was there. Richard got up and said, what are you doing here? And I said, I come to visit you. And he said, ladies and gentlemen, this is my brother from Yugoslavia. He's a great actor. The town is yours. So I told Richard about the scorpions, and he said, listen, Elizabeth and I bought a place called Casa Kimberly, and they built this little house here for me. It's yours. It's 4 days. I was in Puerto Vallarta. Oh, my God. Now, I wasn't in drinking shape, of course. Richard drank 3 bottles a day. But he was putting on his makeup, and there was Ava Gardner. And I mentioned to Richard, I said, you know, I saw Betty Davis on Broadway in the opening night, and she wasn't good on Broadway in stage. But that's good. She said, do you hear what he said? He said, you're 100% better than Betty Davis. She goes, oh, my God. Let's go water skiing. She took me water skiing out of nowhere. And here we are water skiing, and I mentioned that I was 14 pounds when I was born. And she said, so was Frank, and he's been losing weight ever since. She was wonderful. She said, well, Don, we'll see each other tonight, right? And I said, Ava, I hate to say this, but I'm just not in drinking shape. I won't be able to. Can you imagine? I turned down Ava Gardner. Oh, my God. The only regret. Well, anyway. Richard said, Elizabeth's coming. We're going to make a picnic lunch tomorrow. I said, you're kidding. Wow. So the next day we all prepared, and there was Elizabeth with Christopher and Michael, her kids from Michael Wilding, and little Liza Todd, who she was better than all. It was wonderful, just wonderful. But I had to edit everything because I couldn't say Richard, how is Sybil, and how remember the time and all of this. So it was kind of rough, but she was very nice, very sweet. And going back on the boat, I remember Richard saying he was a brilliant businessman. He said, "Love, you see all these beaches and all these hills and trees." John and I went to Life, bought everything for $100 an acre, everything. Then we went to Life magazine and said, "We're coming to Puerto Vallarta." Front page, new trysting spot for Richard and Elizabeth, Puerto Vallarta. He's the guy that did it. Millionaire, and great fun. Where are we? Boston. Boston. With John Gielgud. Oh, my God. You've all heard of John Gielgud? John Gielgud. He was directing Richard in Hamlet. That was about the time when, again, with Richard and Elizabeth, so there were mobs everywhere. So I thought I'd surprise him and get up and watch rehearsals. So I got there on a Wednesday during the day, 10 o'clock, walked into the theater, and there was John Gielgud with a glass of milk in his hand. Smiled at me. I looked up, and there on the stage was Richard Burton, Hume Cronin, Alfred Drake. They were doing the play within the play. And Richard said, "May I lie in your lap, lady? I mean my head upon your lap." And Gielgud said, "No, Richard, dear boy, you're wonderful with words and Shakespeare, but here you must differentiate my head upon your lap." And he looked at me and smiled. "May I lie in your lap, lady? I mean my head upon your lap." Richard was very naughty. He said, "No, dear boy," and he jumped up on the stage and said, "May I lie in your lap, lady? I mean my head upon your lap." You see, Richard? And he came, "Go to me, get the milk." So about 2 hours later, Richard come to they broke for lunch. And Richard, "Oh, my God, what are you doing here?" And Gielgud said, "Do you know this fellow?" He said, "Yeah, he's a wonderful actor. He's my friend." And he said, "Oh, God." He looked at me and said, "Thank God, now that I know who you are, I've tried so hard not to show off so much this afternoon." The great John Gielgud was doing it. So we had lunch, and he said, "You have done Shakespeare, haven't you?" I said, "No, I haven't." He said, "With that voice, you must do Shakespeare." He said, "Listen, I did a thing called Ages of Man in 1957. You must do it. All the characters of Shakespeare. With your voice, you must do it." And so I did. I followed the master. All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. And one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school, and then a lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad made to his mistress' eyebrow. Then the soldier full of strange oaths and bearded like the pod, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice in fair round belly with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again towards childish treble, pipes and whistles in its sound. Last scene of all that ends this strange, eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. Now, Shakespeare had... Shakespeare had no scenery in his theater, but this hardly matters to a poet who could so easily create in words summer, winter, Arden, Illyria. I mean, the man didn't need any scenery. For example, here in The Merchant of Venice is the young Lorenzo walking under the summer moon with Shylock's daughter Jessica, with whom he has eloped from Venice. The moon shines bright in such a night as this, when the sweet wind did gently kiss the trees, and they did make no noise. In such a night stood Dido with a willow in her hand upon the wild sea banks, and waved her love to come again to Carthage. How sweet the moonlight sleeps upon this bank. Sit, Jessica. Look how the floor of heaven is thick inlaid with patines of bright gold. Listen to the sound of music that creeps in our ear. And here is Romeo spying his Juliet on her balcony. But soft, what lights beyond the window breaks? 'Tis the east. And Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, which is already sick and pale with grief that thou, her maid, art far more fair than she. Be not a maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools do wear it. Cast it off. It is my lady. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses, I will answer it. I am too bold. 'Tis not to me she speaks. Two of the fairest stars in all the heaven, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. What if her eyes were there, they in her head? The brightness of her cheeks would shame those stars as daylight doth the lamp. Her eyes in heaven would through the airy region stream so bright that birds would sing and think it were not night. See how she rests her hand upon her cheek. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek. Cole Porter loved Shakespeare. So much so he wrote a play called Kiss Me, Kate, which was the #1 Broadway show for years. It was from Taming of the Shrew, of course. And here is Petruchio wooing his Catherine. You lie in faith, for you're called plain Kate and bonny Kate, and sometimes Kate the cursed. But Kate the prettiest Kate in Christendom. Kate of Kate Hall, my super dainty Kate, for dainties are all Kates. And therefore, Kate, take this of me. Hearing thy mildness praised in every town, thy virtue spoke of, and thy beauty sounded, myself am moved to move thee for my wife. And therefore, setting all this chat aside, thus in plain terms, your father hath consented that you shall be my wife. Your dowry agreed on, and will you near you, I will marry you. Now, Kate, I am a husband for your turn. For by this light whereby I see thy beauty that doth make me like thee well, thou must be married to no man but me. For I am here born to tame you, Kate, and bring you from a wild Kate to a Kate conformable as other household Kates. And so they married. 6 months later, well, it didn't work out quite that well. Since I reached the charming age of puberty and began to finger feminine curls, like a show that's typically Schuberty, I have always known a multitude of girls. But now that a married man at last am I, how aware of my dear departed past am I. But where's the life that late I led? Where's it now? Totally dead. Where's the fun I used to find? Where's it gone? Gone with the wine. A married life is all quite well, but raising an heir can never compare with raising a bit of hell. So I repeat what first I said. Oh, where is the life that late I in dear Milano? Where are you, Momo? Still selling those pictures of the scriptures in the Duomo. And Carolina, where are you, Lena? Still peddling your pizza in the streets of Taormina. And in Firenze, where are you, Alice? Still there in your pretty, itty, bitty, pitty palace. And sweet Lucretia, so young and gay, what scandalous doings in the ruins of Pompeii. Oh, where's the life that late I led? Where's it now? Totally dead. Where's the fun I used to find? Where's it gone? Gone with the wine. A married life is quite all right. During the day it's easy to play, but oh, what a bore at night. So I repeat what first I said. Oh, where's the life that late I... Where is Rebecca? My Becky Vecchio. Could still she be cruising that amusing Ponte Vecchio? Where is Fedora, that wild virago? It's lucky I missed a gangster sister from Chicago. Where is Venetia, who loved to chat so? Could still she be drinking in her stinking pink palazzo? And where is Lisa? Where are you, Lisa? You gave a new meaning to the leaning tower of Pisa. Oh, where is the life that late I led? Where's it now? Totally dead. Where's the fun I used to find? Where's it gone? Gone with the wine. I've oft been told of nuptial bliss, but what do you do at 1:45 with only a cheroot to kiss? I repeat what first I said. Where is the life that lay I led? Where are we? Huh? Ah. Aha! You know, the girls today in society, they go for classical poetry. So to win their hearts, one must quote with ease Aeschylus and Euripides. One must know Homer and believe me, Beau, Sophocles, even Sappho. Oh, unless you know Shelley and Keats and Pope, the dainty Debbies will call you a dope. But the poet of them all, that will start their hearts a-raving, is the poet people call the Bard of Stratford on Avon. Brush up your Shakespeare. Start quoting him now. Brush up your Shakespeare, and the ladies you will wow. Just declaim a few lines from Othello, and they'll say, he's a hell of a fella. If your blonde don't respond when you flatter her, tell her what Tony told Cleopatra. If she cries when her clothes you are mussing, what are clothes much ado about nothing? Brush up your Shakespeare, and they'll all kowtow. Brush up your Shakespeare, start quoting him now. Brush up your Shakespeare, and the woman you will wow. With the wife of the British ambassador, tear a page out of Trilist and Cressida. If she said she won't buy it or take it, make her take it much more as you like it. If she says your behavior is heinous, kick her right in the Coriolanus. Brush up your Shakespeare, and they'll all kowtow. Brush up your Shakespeare, start quoting him now. Brush up your Shakespeare, and the women you will wow. You don't have to be a ham and do Hamlet. The girls won't give a damn or a damn it. Just recite an occasional sonnet, and your lap will have honey upon it. If your baby is pleading for pleasure, let her sample your measure for measure. Brush up your Shakespeare, and they'll all kowtow.
Forsooth.
And they'll all kowtow.
Odds Botkins.
And they'll all kowtow. Where are we?
Irvin Drake.
Huh? Wow. I love that song. I'm sure a lot of you remember Irvin Drake.
Yeah.
Beautiful Edith and Irwin. Those of you who don't know Irvin, he wrote, I believe for every drop of rain that falls. He wrote, Good Morning, Heartache. 3 Broadway shows. Well, he happened to be at Schubert Alley, which is on 44th Street, next to the old Astor Hotel. And the manager of the Kingston Trio came up to him and said, listen, we have the studio for 3 hours. We only need it for 2 hours, really. So write a song, we'll give you the last hour. And so he wrote... Good morning, heartache. When I was 17, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for small town girls and soft summer nights. We'd hide from the lights on the village green when I was 17. When I was 21, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for city girls who lived up those stairs with perfumed hair that came undone when I was 21. When I was 35, it was a very good year. It was a very good year for blue-blooded girls of independent means. We'd ride in limousines. Their chauffeurs would drive. When I was 35. And now the days grow short. I'm in the autumn of my years. And I think of myself as vintage wine from fine old kegs. From the brim to the dregs, it poured sweet and clear. It was a very good year. What do we got? Huh? Golden Rainbow. Golden Rainbow with Stephen Eady. That was a nice experience. In Philadelphia, the review said, I played a fellow named Lou Garrity, who was not unlike, he owned the biggest hotel in Las Vegas. And sound familiar? Someone who's been in the papers a lot lately. Well, anyway, the reviews in Philadelphia, the best production number in the show was Joe Sirola's Taste. That was nice. But 3 days later, it was cut. So I said, why did they go? He said, listen, Joe. I said, listen, I'm a little embarrassed because I'm doing a reprise in the second act to a song that was in the first act that's no longer there, so there's no song. So Steve said, listen, why don't you just add to the reprise and make a whole song of it? So I did. And what came out was...
yes, gentlemen.
Yes, gentlemen, all you need is good taste. Taste, taste, taste. All you need is good taste. Taste, 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 taste. If you don't have good taste, even talent and brains are a waste. You will see some of me in each project I do. What I show you just seen is a monument to my peerless personal taste. That's the one thing I got. All you need is good taste. Taste, 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 taste. If you don't have good taste, it's all a waste. Yes, it's true my production had violence and sex, but so did the Bible and Oedipus Rex. Unbelievable taste. That's the one thing I got. We had tunics for our eunuchs made by biblical authorities and slaves of every race. So we should not offend minorities. It's when it comes to good taste. That's the one thing I got. Taste. What now? Oh boy, where am I? Well, before I do my last number, I want to thank, of course, JP, the wonderful man who does my life. Bernie and Joanne Freshpan, of course. The wonderful one. This guy is the best jazz pianist, not in New York, but in the country. John Webber. The New York Times says John Webber. And one of our finest singers, and a girl who has put this whole thing together, Shayna Farr. And of course, none of this would be here without the great Claire Gosel. When I was just in the front, Robert Preston did The Music Man. He had a number there called Trouble. Do you remember that number? Folks, anyway. I called my agent, Fifi Oscar, and I said, Meredith Willson wrote Music Man. He's also writing this new show called The Unsinkable Molly Brown. I want an audition. And she looked and said, the only thing left is Christmas Morgan, a bear of a man, 6'3" or 4. How tall are you? I said, I'm 5'8". She said, well, no, I want an audition. So I got the audition. I don't know how. But here I am at the Winter Garden Theater, and all the people are out there. Here's my accompanist having trouble. I said, folks, either you're closing your eyes to a situation you do not wish. And I noticed a guy running up the center aisle, jumping up on the stage, pushing my accompanist over and saying, Joe, let's take it from the top. It was Meredith Willson. And we sang it in harmony. Needless to say, I got the job. Folks, either you're closing your eyes to a situation you do not wish to acknowledge, or you are not aware of the caliber of disaster indicated by the presence of that pool table in your community. Well, you got trouble, my friend. Right here, I say, trouble right here in River City. Why, sure, I'm a billiard player. Certainly mighty proud to say I'm always mighty proud to say it. I consider that the hours I spend with a cue in my hand are golden. Help you cultivate horse sense and a cool head and a keen eye. Did you ever try to take and find an ironclad lead for yourself from a 3-rail billiard shot? But just as I say, it takes judgment, brain, maturity to score in a ball line game. I say that any boob can take and shove a ball in a pocket. I call that sloth. The first big step on the road to the depths of dag. I say first, medicinal wine from a teaspoon, then beer from a bottle. And the next thing you know, your son is playing for money in a pinchback suit and listening to some big out-of-town Jasper. Hearing them tell about horse race gambling. Not a wholesome trot race, no, but a race where they sit down right on the horse. Like to see some stuck-up jockey boy sitting on Dan Patch, make your blood boil with like Shakespeare. Now, friends, let me tell you what I mean. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pockets in the table. Pockets that mark the difference between a gentleman and a bum with a capital B, rhymes with P, stands for pool. And all week long, your River City youth will be frittering around. I said, your young men will be frittering. Fritter away their noontime, supper time, chore time, too. Get the ball in the pocket. Never mind getting dandelions picked or the screen door patched or the beefsteak pounded. Never mind pumping any water through your pants, of course, with the cistern empty on a Saturday night. That's trouble. You got lots and lots of trouble. I'm thinking of the kids in the Knickerbockers, shirt-tail young ones, peeking in that pool hole window after school. You got trouble. Folks, right here in River City, with a capital T that rhymes with P and it stands for pool. Now, I know all you folks are the right kind of parents. I'm going to be perfectly frank. Would you like to know what kind of conversation goes on while they're loafing around that hall? They'll be trying out Bevo, Cubebs, tailor-made like cigarette fiends, and bragging all about how they're going to cover up a telltale breath with sense and one fine night. They leave the pool hall heading for the dance in the armory. Libertine men and scarlet women and ragtime, shameless music. It'll grab your son and your daughter with the arms of a jungle, animal instinct, masteria. Friends, the idle brain is the devil's playground. Now I can deal with the trouble with the wave of my hand, this very hand. Please observe me if you will. Now, mother, heed that warning before it's too late. Watch for the telltale signs of corruption. The minute your son leaves the house, does he rebuckle his knickerbockers below the knees? Is he starting to memorize jokes from Captain Billy's whiz bag? Is there a nicotine stain on his index finger? Words like coming into his conversation like swell and so's your old man. Well, if so, my friends, I can deal with the trouble with the wave of this hand. What? Please observe me now. River City's got to have a boys' band, and I mean she needs it today. Well, Professor Harold Hill's on hand, and River City's going to have that boys' band. And as sure as the Lord made little green apples, that band's going to be in uniform. Johnny, Willie, Telly, Fred. And you'll see the glitter of crashing cymbals. You'll hear the thunder of rolling drums. And you'll feel something akin to the electric thrill I once enjoyed when Gilmore, Liberati, Pat Conway, the great creator, and W.C. Handy all came to town on the very same historic day. 76 trombones led the big parade with 110 cornets right behind. They were followed by rows and rows of the finest virtuosos, the cream of every famous band. 76 trombones for the morning light with 110 cornets right behind. To the rhythm of march, 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 all those kids began to march. And they're marching still right today.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Sirola.
Thank you.
Johnny Weber.
Fantastic. More. What am I doing? What am I doing? Huh?
Alfred.
No. Huh? Oh! Back to Alfie Doolittle. Yeah. He's bamboozled into getting married. There are drinks and girls all over London. And I'm going to track him down in just a few more hours. Because I'm getting married in the morning. Ding dong, those bells are going to chime. Pull out the stopper. Let's have a whopper. But get me to the church on time. I gotta be there in the morning. Spruced up and looking at me pride. Girls, come and kiss me. Show how you'll miss me. But get me to the church on time. If I am dancing, roll up the floor. If I am whistling, whip me out the door. 'Cause I'm getting married in the morning. Ding dong, those bells are gonna chime. Feather and Tommy, call out the army, but get me to the church. Get me to the church. For God's sake, get me to the church on time. Hey!
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Sirola.
Triumph.
Tootsie goodbye? Huh? Yesterday I heard a fella sigh. goodbye, oh me, oh my. 7 times he got aboard that train, and 7 times he hurried back to kiss his love again and tell her, oh, tootsie, don't cry. Tootsie, goodbye. That choo-choo train that takes me away from you, no words can say how sad it makes me. Oh, kiss me, tootsie, and then do it over again. Watch for the mail, I'll never fail. If you don't get a letter, then you know I'm in jail. Oh, kiss me, tootsie, goodbye. Tootsie, goodbye.
Ladies and gentlemen, just Sirola.
Marilyn May is here.
Marilyn
May.
Marilyn May. Yeah.